How's it, guys? Today I'm going to demonstrate entity relationships using CodeFast in .NET 6 API. So we're going to talk about one-to-one relationship, one-to-many, and many-to-many relationship. So for us to do that, I've created an imaginary app, which I just named Community Electric Fault Fixer app. So what happens in this app is that people in my community, they can come to this application, and then if they have any electrical faults with their appliances or whatever that have any fault in their homes, they can come to our application, log in that fault, and then when they log in that fault, which is also called a job in this case, and then the electricians who will be also other users in the system, they can come and then they can claim to take that job, and then they can do the communication to fix it, etc., etc. The idea here is just to make sure that people can get quick attendance to their electrical faults if they have any issues uh, with their electrical appliances, etc., etc. So quickly to just talk about the relationships, a user can create manifolds, can log manifolds or jobs, and a user can have one address, and one address belong to one user. A user can have many rows, and many rows can belong to one user. This means that a user can be an electrician, can be a general user, or can be an administrator who will be probably verifying if the electricians that have registered as electricians are actually legit people and not scammers or something like that. Yeah, I hope you understand the system. So from there, we go on to the actual system now. Since you have sort of understood what we have talked about. So the first thing that we do here is we will need to create our models. In this case, I've already created the models so that we don't waste much time. So I've created all these models and just give them some random data in there. Um, After you create your models, one of the important things that you need to do is to to install imported NuGet packages, which is the nframe code, the code design, the SQL Server one. In my case, I'm using SQL Server. So if you're using MongoDB, SQLite, etc., etc., you need to install the correct package here. So yes, and another important tool that we need to also install is this tool. It's on the screen. Is this tool, and this tool um, helps us to run the Entity Framework migration commands. So you can just get it from this side and then install it globally so that you can actually use it with your terminal of your choice. You can use Git Bash or whatever what you prefer to use. So once you have created your models, you have installed your important NuGet packages, the next step is to go to the DB context. So in the DB context, there is some missing information here. We need to inherit from DB context. Let me see if I can fix this. Yes, get it from them. Once you inherit it from the DB context, it also needs a constructor. Yes, and then you give it a constructor here. So the first relationship that we're going to talk about is a one-to-many relationship, which is sort of the easier one to understand. But just before we do that, we also need to add a connection string here. So you need to come into your app settings, and if you don't know the .NET 6 folder structure, or you don't know how to create a new project, you can contact me, and then I can actually comment in the comment section, and then I can help you out with that as well. But you create your connection string here. Once you have created your connection string, I have named this database, I've just named it relationships demo. So you can give it whatever name that you have, what you want, and then put your connection string. Once you've done that, you then need to come into your program.cs file, and then in this program.cs file, you need to do something important. You need to add this line to add um, our DB context to register it on our services so that it can be used. So you just need to remember this DB context, and then that's this DB context in my case. Sorry. And then you also need to give it options, and then on the options you use SQL Server, and then get the connection string from the configuration settings in the app settings. Okay, so once you have done that, you've created your models, installed the NuGet packages, created your DB context, create a connection string, register your DB context on the program.cs file. You have done the whole setup. Then now you need to go on and uh, do the relationships now. Let's just go on to do the relationships now. So the first relationship that we're going to talk about is one-to-many, as I say. So this is, in this case, a user can create many jobs. Okay, so in our case, we are saying this user and this electric job. So if you want to add a one-to-many relationship, um, you create a collection on the one side of the model. So what I just mean is that you do this prop, and then you just say I collection, and then you add uh, collect job. Okay, and then you just collect electric job jobs. That's fine. So that's basically all you need to do for you to create a one-to-many relationship. So in this case, this means that a user can create one or more, zero or more jobs. And also important to note is that some people, they choose to put an ID here, but Edit framework handles that in the database already to create a foreign key for us in the electric job um, uh, side. So you see that as we go. But before you do that, you need to add DB sets. So in my case, you need to add DB sets in the DB context. So in my case, I've already sort of like written them before, so that can be easier for you guys, so that you don't really watch me typing a lot. Um, yes, so I've already done this. So I'm just gonna clear my terminal again. So once you have done this, you've all set. We need to now update our database and create our migration so that we can actually see them, what we have done now. I'm just gonna look for um, my command here, one-to-many. Okay, I'm gonna use this command. Okay, cool. So I'm just using a page up because I've already run these commands before. So, but this command is just .NET EF migrations add one-to-many. One-to-many is just a name that I gave. You can give it whatever name that you want. And I gave it some options that I want these migrations folder to be created under data, and then migrations. So if it doesn't find the migrations folder, it will edit under here. So this is just to make my code a little bit neat. So it will edit under this folder. Once you've done that, just hit enter, and then starts a whole works. Okay, cool. Don't worry about this warning. This is just because I'm using a previous version. I just need to update that. I'll update it. So once you have done that, you see that it has created a migrations folder here with one-to-many, and yeah, all the data in the table has been created here. So once you have done that, you can actually now update the database. So what you need to do is to just say .NET EF database update, and then this will go on and create these tables and this migration. So if you just do this, crossing fingers. Okay, cool. It looks like it worked. I'm just gonna go to my SQL, and then okay, I think I just need to refresh this because I can't find it. Oh yes, here it is. So as you can see, it is already created the database, and it created the user and the electric job. So if you can just see here, if we go to this design, on this side you won't see anything, but if you go to the electric job now, you can see the user ID foreign key has been created here. So this means that that's how actually Edit Framework, it handles it in the background. It also automatically creates a user ID here. If you want it to not now, you know how to add those required and etc in here. So you can also choose to add that. So once you have understood that, the next part is one-to-one relationship. So in our case, is that a person can only have um, one address, and an address can belong to one person. This is just an example. Um, so what you need to do for that to actually work is you need to come to your user side, and then you say, oh, and then this will be the address, and then you just say address here, and then you also need to go to the address side and do the same. So here in this case, it will be oh, and then it will be user and user. But in this case now, you need to tell and framework, because it won't know. You need to tell it where the foreign key is actually gonna sit, because if you just run it like this, it will complain saying, where do you want me to add the foreign key constraint? So in our case, I would want to add um, my foreign key here, for example, in the user ID. So that's where you just say prop again, and then you say in that would be user ID here, like this. And then by this, any framework will understand what you're actually trying to do. And then another important thing is that you need to add the address in here. I think I'm just going to add all of these ones now. In the DB context, you need to register this as well, the DB sets. So yeah, you just need to add the addresses, and then yeah, the rows, we're just going to talk about it now. So once you have done this, so that's how we actually do a one-to-one. You need to add a user like this on the other side, and do the same on the other side, but also choose to put the foreign key where the foreign key is actually going to sit. Okay, so once you have done that, you can also choose to run your migrations again. In this case, yeah, I'm just gonna name it. I have already named it as 1-to-1, and then still under the same folder. If I run this, crossing fingers. Okay, cool. You can see that it says already added the one-to-one part here, and then we can also update the database now. Database update, so that we can see the relationship in the database as well. So if you go to SQL again, and then I think we just need to refresh the tables. Yes. it was already added rows as well, which is fine, and then addresses is here as well. So if you can see, we have added the user ID this side. So as you can see, it's this side on the address. That's the side that we added the user ID. So that's where the user ID will become the foreign key. And then on the user side, you see you won't see that. So um Entity Framework knows how to handle this and do the communication for us. We don't need to do anything in the database. So besides that, now we can talk about the many-to-many part. Um, the many-to-many part is, in our case, in this explanation, is the user and the rows. User can have many rows belong to many users. Okay, cool. So for us to do that, we need to just come into users again, and then we create an I collection of rows and just call it rows here. And we do the same on the other side. So we also go to rows, and then under rows, we create the users. So it will be an I collection user, and then yeah, I'll just call it users. Okay, cool. So once you do this, that's all you need to set up um, the the users, the many-to-many relationship, I mean. So that's what you just need to do here. You add this collection here, and on the other side, you do the same like this. So once you have done this, you now just need to run your command to update your migration. So add migrations. I called it many to many, and it's gonna just sit there as well. Then after that, we do a database update again. Okay, cool. So if you go to the database again, let's go here and just do a refresh. You're going to see that in a many-to-many relationship, it created an extra table here, which is called roles user or user roles or whatever. That's how it actually handles a many-to-many relationship, and any framework knows how to do this automatically. And if you can check it here in the design, that table, it just holds the rows ID and the user ID. That's how it actually does it. And then in here, yeah, you won't see anything as well about that relationship. So yeah, thank you very much. I hope you understood it and it was simple to understand. Tell me more if you want me to go further to install insert data in here or manipulate data and do whatever, everything. You can edit in the comment section. Thank you. Bye.